How has your perspective of community changed since you were a member of the Army?
Well, the honest answer to that is, I came from a very small town up in East Tennessee. So I came from a town where it takes a village to raise someone, and I couldn't move in that town without my parents knowing about it. The Army, military is the same way. The Army is a community among itself. So there's really no perspective change. It just went from one community to the other one.
How did you feel that sense of community from the people around you?
Probably closer. You have to understand, in the military, particularly if you live on a military installation, you're moving every 3-4 years. So when you move into a military installation, you don't waste time getting to know your neighbors. I mean, you pull in and everybody's out there greeting you, the wives, the children. It's just automatically you're accepted. The military itself is a very tight brotherhood. And today, to be properly correct, brotherhood, sisterhood. But it's that type of organization. It's just, it's a very close-knit group. I mean, I've got friends today in practically any major area in the United States from the military.
So because your sense of community came pretty strongly from groups and you got to know people quickly, do you think that that has shaped how you form community in the church?
I would think so. I'm an outward going person. I enjoy meeting people and greeting people and helping people, so yeah, probably so.
Did serving in the Army change your perspective of God?
If it did anything, it made it deeper. I came from my father was very religious, but he didn't go to church. He made doggone sure I went to church with my mother every Sunday, so yes. Yeah, it was there.
Did you carry that perspective change forward? How has that perspective of God shaped community around you?
Well, I guess like a lot of people, as I have got older, wiser, more gray hair, my faith has grown stronger. And I think that's just a natural progression, whether it's from the military or anywhere else. You learn as you grow.
Are there any stories from your military days that you would be willing to share?
That I can tell? Well, probably if you want a good story, first off, you have to realize that for 20 some odd years of my career, I was a finance and accounting officer. So twice a month, I was the most popular individual on post because I had the money. And one year we had a delay in Congress passing the budget. And it was coming up on the 15th of October. And everybody's saying the military's not going to get paid tomorrow. And all of a sudden they passed the resolution. So I hopped on a helicopter with a sergeant and we flew to, this was back when everybody got paid by check, flew to Fort Benjamin Harrison, Indiana, picked up the checks. Had 2 big duffel bags full of checks, hopped back on the helicopter. We got about 30 minutes coming back towards Fort Knox, and the skies broke loose on us. We had to sit down. So we finally sat down, got in a motel, sitting there, and during the middle of the night, somebody was right in there watching television or something, and they came on and said, okay, everybody's going to get paid tomorrow. And I'm thinking, looked at my sergeant, and I said, Fort Knox ain't going to get paid because we got the checks and we're up here. And so I said, let's see what we can do. So I ran down, I was going to rent a car. And there was an Indiana Highway Patrolman standing down there. And he heard me and he asked me what was going on. And I told him. He said, go get your buddy and let's go. They started relaying us with the Indiana Highway Patrol from mid-Indiana to each one of their jurisdictions. They relayed us through it wasn't a hurricane, but it should have been one, to the bridge over the Ohio River at Louisville, Kentucky, between Indiana and Kentucky. The MPs picked us up in the middle of the bridge, and when the troops formed up that next morning, first sergeants were out there waving checks at them. So that was a neat story, neat experience.
It sounds like you were dedicated to the community around you. Did you feel that dedication from the people that you served with?
Yes, most definitely. It's, like I said earlier, it's a brotherhood. It's, you've always got the person next to you's back, and they've got your back.
How can we, as the church, learn from that type of brotherhood? How can we become a brother and sisterhood in the church body?
My suggestion, be more open-minded. Let people express their opinions without having to be shunned for it, for whatever it is. Now I'm starting to get political with everything going on. But, just accept people as people. I love Derek's idea, love the man in front of you. And, you can be different all you want to, but respect each other's differences. You don't have to get mad because you don't agree with each other, but just be open.
Did you feel that around you in the military, that sense of just being open with one another and getting along despite your differences?
Absolutely. I mean, we had every walk of life there was, economically, racially, religiously, whatever you want to call it. I mean, we were a mixture, and that didn't interfere with anything. We were a brotherhood, period. For this church, the way they celebrate Veterans Day and salute the veterans. For those of us in the Vietnam era, we had to sneak back into the country. We weren't welcomed openly. And that, I get emotional. That means something to us. End of story.
It's important to recognize our veterans.
And I haven't talked to a one that doesn't appreciate it. We had a gentleman in this church named Harry Mickleborough. I'm sure you've heard of Harry. Yep. Harry was a Marine. Now, he wasn't a career Marine, but he served in the Marines. And, man, he loved marching down that aisle. He'd come every Veterans Day in his uniform. And they'd always do the Marine hymn, the last one. And Harry would go down. And when he got to where he couldn't get down there by himself, there were some of us that would come back here and get him, carry him down there.